This is Brian Viziondance. I'm here at Sunrise Celebration 2010, and we're about to have a discussion about some of the fundamental issues of our times, and that is whether we live in oneness or we live in duality, whether corporations are the enemy or whether corporations are just part of reality that is part of the bridge that we are on and crossing in order to get to where we want to go. And this is David Goodfellow from the Kindness Offensive, who will say a few words about the essence of what he's all about.
We do large-scale random acts of kindness, and we've had a lot of success doing that over the last couple of years. We've given away over £2.5 million worth of goods, and that includes food for hungry people, clothes to people who need them, and toys to children. And we make all of this happen with corporate sponsorship. We don't take any donations from the public at all. We work only with corporations to try and do positive things. And we think it's about time that positive people started to look for positive, new and interesting ways to work with the people who I think have been kind of mislabeled or unhelpfully labeled the bad guys. I think the bad guys are just waiting to be good guys, and they need some attention, and we need to start working with what we have rather than moaning about where we want to be.
Nice one. So inside of every bad guy there's a good guy just waiting to burst out.
No, there's no such thing as a bad guy.
There's no such thing as a bad guy.
Bad guys are just badly labelled, that's all.
Nice one. Bad guys just badly labelled. I love it. Thank you very much. And on the other side of the table, so as to speak, with an opposing point of view, is Charlie Veitch, activist from the Love Police, who is extremely creative in his activism and exposing the shadows within the people that he works with.
Yeah, I'd just like to say from the Kindness Offensive, I've never heard such a big pile of hippie, denialist bullshit in my life. To say that bad people don't exist, that inside every bad guy there's a good person, this is war. There's no point manifesting in the 3D physical world as imperfect beings if it wasn't to fight evil. And my job is to lower fear and raise love by shining a light up the arsehole of evil. So I disagree, bad people do exist, and you cannot make a deal with corporations which are raping and pillaging and destroying families all around the world. These people are machine thinking, they are murderers, and we just need to basically show them what humanity's about. And for me, humanity is about upholding the good and fighting the bad.
Charlie, I was basically wanting to know for a while, basically when you're in London and you do all the big cities and everything, it's quite easy to imagine being able to go out there and do that. But how about for like small towns and things like that where people aren't necessarily going to respond to that very positively at all? Like, how would you deal with that situation?
I found I've done it in big cities and small towns. It doesn't work so well in a small town because you don't have that oppressive system, the establishment peering into everything you do. So for smaller towns, I'd say just get your friends together and go to a bigger town because you got to go into the belly of the beast.
You just said that you want to fight the bad and support the good.
Promote the good.
Right, but the police would say exactly the same thing, wouldn't they?
But they're wrong and I'm right, so that's the difference.
But I worry in the town that I live in that we've only got 6 policemen, right? Because we haven't got them fighting the bad.
What are they doing?
Well, actually what they're doing is they're doubling shifts at 2 o'clock in the morning so they can cover all the lager louts when they fall out of the nightclubs. So they haven't got the resources to do normal policing anymore. And I accept what you're saying about extremes, right? But you're trying to paint the police, or it appears to me that you're trying to paint the police as total fascists and bad guys,
of an insane and sick society. In a proper indigenous tribal society, the need for police would be ridiculous. I disagree with the concept of police and of arresting people. If we were truly a community of adults, we would...
But the fact is you've got 12-year-old kids out on the street at 2 in the morning.
Why don't you go around there and slap them around the face then, little shits?
Because then you're the one that gets arrested, aren't you? But why are there kids out in the streets at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Bad parenting.
Right.
Why not talk some corporations into giving you a bunch of really cool stuff and throw some parties for the kids?
Let's tempt the children with material goods.
Show them that you care about what they're going through and you'd like to create an experience for them. And they might not be as tempted to steal stuff from you next time they get the chance. It's like we're always doing things in reverse. We're always doing things to try and stop people. We take a child and we put them in prison because they've already done the crime. But how much is actually spent by government now to actually create facilities to encourage young people to do creative, beautiful things? We're doing that in a small way. We're able to get musical instruments. We're able to get crafts and things to people that need them. But if we all had to go with this and this became a way and a mode of life, there'd be an awful lot of young people that would be just too distracted doing nice things to be bothered to go around at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning to rob your house, you know. But you got to do something to change the attitude.
Exactly,
and at the
but
moment,
it's got to be education. Giving
no
somebody a present's not going to do any good.
Oh, it does.
And taking the police off the streets isn't going to do any good either. I think I've said enough now.
You just said that we should meet them with our feelings and emotions, but have you done that with a policeman? And what result did you get?
I've been arrested 6 times in the last year, but I've hugged over 100 policemen whilst they were trying to arrest me.
I've seen it too, and he does.
Yeah, but
They need a hug as well. They're still human beings underneath the fancy dress Freemason uniform.
you've given them a chance to do some good, man.
The one way that everything changes for all of us is to get involved in your local councils. I mean, how many people have ever been to a local council meeting and objected to something? Yet every single one of us have the right every time to go there and voice our objections. You know, I've been involved in some council debates recently, like local schooling issues, and I was just horrified by the lack of people prepared to just stand up and say, I don't like this, to their local council. There are only a few of us that would do that.
They don't listen to you, though, excuse me, but they don't listen to you.
2 million people marched in Britain against the war in Iraq. 2 million. But most people are too fat and stupid and lazy to even get off
And we
their
only
sofa.
did it for one day, right? We went back to our lives afterwards.
Yeah. For me, government, councils, prime ministers are all the problem. I don't want to go into their town hall and engage in them because that is almost giving them validation for their control. Society, when you really research into it, it's a livestock management program where we are all the sheep paying taxes, being held together by the media, the newspapers, our jobs, the indoctrination from the age of 5. What was you telling me last night? Since the age of 5, that's how early they need to start the brainwashing to get people to believe in the system. So for the kindness offensive to kind of, you know, hey, let's get some toys from the corporations and everyone will smile. What it's doing is perpetuating the corporate world of material objects and capitalism.
And then we went to Lloyd's Bank and we said, well, we're doing a book on banking, and it's going to be available in all the shops, and it's going to be available to all the children. And they said, oh, well, that's nice. I said, well, we'd like you to sponsor it. So they took out the back page, and they paid for the printing to expose exactly how the whole banking system is corrupt. They went screaming and shouting they didn't want to pay, but they did end up paying for it. Now, that is an act of aggression, if you like, that's within the law, that is something that we can do. And we did that. Those books exist. It's on the net. It's at xat.org if you want to read it. It's available free. It was always available free from the start. It was never a commercial venture. But we managed to get the thing into solid books thanks to the bank. And that's an attack on it. Now I'm asking you, think of a creative way to attack these people. If you broke the windows, they're going to send someone after you. But if you can break a bit of the balance in the bank book, and you can embarrass them a little bit by doing something they didn't expect they were doing, maybe they'll start to rethink their methods. Maybe they'll start to think, hang on a minute, there may be some sense in this. We'll try and do something nice, something good. We'll try and look at this a bit more carefully. Who knows? But, you know, attack them in a creative way, I think, is what we're saying. Yeah.
I agree with the attack in a creative way. Any form of resistance, it needs to be fun. Otherwise, we're not going to bother to do it.